Hi, it's Andy with West Valley 411. In this video, I've got some important considerations for your water heater replacement decisions, and I want to share them with you. So let me turn the camera around and let's get started. All right, first I was going to replace my 50-gallon water heater that was situated here with a tankless. I did all the research. I was going to put it on the wall, vent it to the outside. That's the front walkway there. I was going to replace all of my half-inch gas pipe that went up the wall and 40 feet across to the gas meter. But then my wife has been working at home. My teenagers have alternate schedules, and we don't all need to be taking showers in the morning. So I decided to replace my 50-gallon that just went out 2 days ago. Just stopped working. It's 23 years old, and so I just figured it's time to replace it. So I got a 50-gallon Rheem gas water heater that is comparable. But I noticed when I did some comparisons that this old unit uses 250 therms a year, and the new unit uses 269 therms per year. So just on the basis of that, it's a little narrower, probably less insulation, and is going to be a little bit more expensive. The cost per therm is kind of denoted in the annual estimated cost. This one is $325, and the old one was just $151, but that's inflation for you. So let's look at a couple of the features. The temperature and pressure valve is on the top on this unit, and it is on the side on this unit. And you'll notice it looks like they kind of overturned it about an inch or so, and it's not, it should be angled down to the ground, so I'll have to fix that. And basically I just had to cut the copper pipe. This drains to the outside, so I'll reconnect that after it's installed. Also, the water drain on this unit is plastic. It's got a little handle on it. The new unit looks like it's brass, and it's just got a hose connection there. Also, maybe one of the reasons that it lasted so long, I'm sure it's partially related to the minerals in the water, but we typically only kept our water on about the lowest reasonable temperature for a couple people to shower at a time. I think this setting on both the units is approximately 110 to 120 degrees, and then you go 130, 140, and 150, and the same on the new unit, except it says it's got a vacation mode here. It's got a low setting, which is 120 degrees. Hot, I think, is 130, 140, 150 approximately. So just keep that in mind. Also, unfortunately for me, when I disconnected the hot water side, I noticed that the water supply to my showers was cut off, but the sinks and toilet all work. And then I had water coming out of this hot water connection. So I turned on the sink, and I still get this residual amount of leakage. And if I turn this off, water comes out, and I ended up having some water damage. So I had to dry all of the wallboard and then retextured it using some Homax. It wasn't real bad. I only got probably a gallon or two on it, but it was wet enough. It got kind of soggy. I'm not really sure why that happened. If there's any plumbers that watch, maybe there's sort of an odd relationship between the two pipes. I did really tighten up that water valve there when I took off the connection. So it's possible that's not totally sealing, but I'm not getting any drips here. So I'm not sure why I'm getting that back up into my sink. Also, plumbing code stipulates that you're supposed to have the sediment trap, which is here, after the gas shutoff valve. So it should go valve, sediment trap, flexible pipe into the water heater, but it's not set up that way. So I see this pretty common. Maybe plumbers just do sort of what's handy, and maybe it doesn't matter all that much, but I know the code basically says valve, sediment trap, flexible pipe. All right, the next thing is I wanted to take a look at this temperature and pressure valve because I know there were a lot of questions online that has to do with whether or not you test it. So I want to actually read, see if we can get close enough to reasonably get this in focus. Okay, it doesn't want to focus, so I'm going to read it. It says, annual operation of T&P relief valves. Warning, following installation, the valve lever must be operated at least once a year by the water heater user consumer to ensure that waterways are clear. Certain naturally occurring mineral deposits may adhere to the valve, blocking waterways, rendering it inoperable. When the lever is operated, hot water will discharge, etc. So they're basically saying you need to do this once a year, just release the pressure, see if it works, and let it go. Now, I was kind of curious about whether or not there was sort of an open and close, because this side of the lever is, it's got a three-sided sheet metal here, and then on the other side, if I pull it down, it's open. So I was like, and this is how it came from the factory. Like, is it open or shut? But if we look up into the valve itself, we'll see, let me rotate this up, we'll see that it doesn't matter which way this handle is, because this is really the open position here when it's perpendicular or parallel to the valve, and then when it's perpendicular, it's shut. So you can read that on your own water heater. There's lots of warnings about temperature, venting. Obviously, this has got to be done properly. And then the last consideration is the pipe connection method. Whether you use a pipe dope sealant or PTFE, Teflon tape. I was looking at the old connections, and the hot water side, which is coated red, is kind of rusty. The cold water side was not. It looks like there's some pipe compound in the pressure valve. And then looking up into the water supply connection, there's a little bit of pipe compound on those, but I think I'm going to use Teflon tape because I had a bad experience in my backyard connecting some a drinking fountain with some pipe dope, and it seemed like it had an odd taste for a couple of years, and then it kind of resolved. So obviously the gas line, we're going to use some pipe dope sparingly. That's what the instructions said. But I might double it up because I really don't want to leak and don't want to do it over. All right, and finally, in terms of tools, I used a crescent wrench on the hex connectors. Those are a little bit easier to use, and then you have to use a pipe wrench to really get a grip. There's a couple sizes. I'm going to see which one uses best, but to get a grip on the pipe and to be able to turn it. So I'm gonna make this as easy as possible. I'm taking this off. Hopefully I won't have to take off the elbow and this will spin. I'll put it on the new unit here where the gas intake goes, and then I'll just use the flex connector pipe to attach to the sediment trap. So hope this has been helpful. Post any questions. I'll do my best, and plumbers, you guys always kind of know the best techniques. So definitely look for your guidance if you've got some words of wisdom. Thanks for watching. And one more thing to add as an epilogue. This is the water heater blanket that was around the old water heater from top to bottom. You'll notice on the new water heater, there are vents that are not supposed to be blocked because it affects the combustion of the gas. So the instructions also say, do not put a blanket around because it's sufficiently insulated. But it's 2023, maybe that worked, or maybe they don't want to have the liability of blocking any of these vents along the bottom. So I'm going to put the blanket on, but only go up to, about here. Took about 5 buckets of water to clear out this cloudy water. So open up the taps inside your house, flush the toilets, and get that cleared out before you drink or take a shower. And then you're going to want to check all of your connections, use soapy water on your gas lines, and if you have any minor drips coming out of your supply lines, just tighten that nut up a little bit. And then instructions say check the window, make sure your burner is fired up after you light the pilot, and then you're good to go. All right, a couple quick things as a second epilogue. I had to cut off about 1 inch of my vent tube to reposition it correctly, since the water heater circumference is different and it's in a different position. So I was able to get the water lines in, but then had to cut the about 1 inch off. And secondly, the manufacturer recommends no insulation covering the very top of the water heater because it could interfere with the venting. So I'm going to go ahead and put the old insulation on the outside. And then I decided to give the next owner of this water heater a break by changing from a hard copper connection for the temperature and pressure valve drainage, and went with this new flexible hose. So despite having the copper pipe on, which I was going to just bridge over with an elbow, I'm just going to use this flexible hose here, make a little S, and then it'll drain out through the wall and outside on the pre-existing copper pipe. So this male adapter only costs $3 at Home Depot. So we'll go ahead and cut the pipe. Pretty easy. Put that around. Turn it in a circular motion. We'll get off the burrs. We'll wire brush out and wire the inside and outside of the tube. Then we'll flux it and then heat it up. Put some solder on it, and we should be good to go. So thanks for watching. Hope the extra tips have been helpful. I guess any successful installation means you've got a properly blinking status light. So good luck with your new water heater. Thanks for watching. Okay, and just one more final thing that I forgot to mention, and that is if you have a tapered or beveled or flared end of a connector that's listed here, do not use any pipe sealant, pipe dope, or Teflon tape. And an example of that is here on the gas line. This does not require any connecting material. Now on the other side of it here, that goes into this gas elbow, that does require a sealant. So hopefully that'll help. I did put on the end of this copper pipe, and then all we're going to do is make a little S down from the valve, and we'll be all done. So hope that last point is helpful. And once again, thanks for watching.